Hi everyone. Well, OpenAI have launched their new model O3 Pro. Now, it's a little bit different, and it's been a bit of a challenge for me to work out how to demonstrate this new model. But what I've got is a series of use cases that I think are relevant to you if you're in business or if you're running your own business, etc. And whether you're negotiating, whether you're trying to keep an eye on stock prices, whether you're looking to expand work that you've done before, I think O3 Pro is pretty cool and can help you with it. Let's go and have a look. Let's see what you think. Now, there's AI hype everywhere. Everyone's waiting for Grok 3.5. People are waiting for ChatGPT 5, and this isn't it. You've got new models coming from Anthropic with Claude's new model. Gemini, Google are dropping models all the time. We haven't seen anything from DeepSeek, so I expect something's coming soon. So when a new model comes out, there's loads of hype. And O3 Pro is effectively O3 with a load more compute power, but it is a little bit different. It's definitely slower. It can take ages to run a single prompt, but it seems to be doing something a little bit different. It can work with massive context windows. It can carry out multiple tasks, and I think this will change the way we prompt these types of reasoning models. And certainly I've had to think of some new ways of working with it. So let's jump in. Let's have a look at what it can do. And let's work out together whether we think it's worth $200 a month. I'm not so sure whether this is the step that would push you to $200 a month, but maybe it will. Let's jump in. Okay, here we are in ChatGPT. And if you go to the model picker, you can see that if you've got the $200 a month package, you now have access to O3 Pro. So O3 uses the advanced reasoning. O3 Pro gives you more advanced reasoning, more compute time, larger context window. Let's try out O3 Pro with some specific use cases, see what we think. Okay, so what I've done here is I have tried to create a scenario. This is the first time I've done this sort of thing, but tried to create a scenario of a trade deal and asked O3 Pro to play multiple different roles and then go through a set of turns to get a trade agreement. So in this case, a trade agreement, I put the UK in, but I've also created this dummy state Azoria, which plays the UK in this case. So there's a prompt, scenario a trade deal between the EU and the UK. Here are the agents, so the different participants in the negotiation. So the EU Commissioner, Azoria PM, WTO Observer, and an NGO rep, giving it some rules. Each speaks in numbered turns, stops after agreement or 10 rounds, summarizes positions and concessions. And as I say, it's been quite difficult to produce prompts that would show off the benefits of O3 Pro. And so you'll see some slightly different prompts this time. As always, I will put all the prompts in a document, call it O3 Pro, and I will load it up to the website. There'll be a link down below. You can go download it, play along with me as you go through the video. All free, no problems whatsoever. Just go and find the document and you can join along with me as we go through these prompts. But so I thought I would try something that was a little bit different and this sort of scenario playing out. So now the first thing to remember about O3 Pro is that it takes a long time. So to go through this, and I'm not going to subject you to the 13 minutes and 14 seconds wait while it does its processing. It's new, it takes its time, but you get some really interesting outcomes. So here we go. We've got this scenario, and in the first round, we've got negotiation transcript, EU Commissioner, who's moderate, opens with a proposed zero tariff, zero quota trade in goods, coupled with high labour environmental standards and a plan to link the EU and the UK emissions trading scheme. And then the Azoria, or the UK Prime Minister, welcomes tariff-free trade, demands rapid trigger safeguards, WTO observer, NGO representative. And then the round 2, EU agrees something, the PM accepts some safeguards, WTO observer notes the fish quotas, etc. And it goes through and gets through to round 5. Round 6, we ended up with accepting the EU terms, and then agreement has been reached. And then you get this summary of all the concessions that have made. And it gives you, as always, I ask for pros and cons, so it gets pros and cons of the final deal, and then some references to what's been brought in. Now, I'm not sure that this sort of activity would have been really possible with the previous models, this sort of iterative, different rounds of discussion, etc. I think that's really cool. And you could see that if you were in business and you were looking to sort of role play a negotiation with a supplier or with a customer, etc., and you understood what your red lines were, what you were trying to achieve, what they were might be valuable to them, you could role play this using AI, using O3 Pro, and work out your best move forward. So I think this is really powerful, and I don't think I've seen much of this on YouTube, people going through this sort of thing. So I hope that's of interest. Let's move on to the next use case. Okay, so one of the things, if you ever do a PhD, you will know that it's a real slog to get to the end. And often you finish your PhD and think, okay, well, I'm going to write extra papers, I can do some additional analysis, etc. And for many people, they just don't get there. And one of the really cool things about O3 Pro is that it has an enormous context window. So I've uploaded my PhD thesis, and I've asked it to do the following. So, I think if we were using O3, or certainly if we're using 4.0, what we would do is, A, we might struggle to have the whole of this document in the context window. B, we might struggle to analyze graphs and data in the same way. We'd probably have to split it up. But here I've just loaded my whole PhD thesis, and I've said to O3 Pro, attached is my PhD thesis. I want you to do the following: research and structure an academic paper based on this thesis, and recent academic papers on the use of LinkedIn as a research tool. Identify 3 areas for writing new academic articles based on this research. So go through, check it against the research, and then give me some additional papers that I could write. Look at the data contained in this thesis, identify 3 additional ways this data could be analysed and generate new information and potential academic papers. So look at the data. Could we do something different? Now, I know that we could do something different, and I probably stepped back from doing that when I was doing my PhD because I didn't have all of the skills. Well, now I might have the skills. Generate a draft white paper on the findings of this research. So how can I communicate this research more effectively? And identify articles published since the research that move this conversation, the conversation in the PhD forward. So how do I get up to date quickly? I said, take your time, and it did, and produce a comprehensive and detailed response. So it thought for 13 minutes. As I say, these things aren't slow. I've had to plan all of this in good time so that you're not sat here waiting for me to give you the outcomes. I can just show you the outcomes. And here we go. Below you'll find 5 self-contained outputs, each keyed to a task in your brief. Citations that are embedded in APA style and hyperlinked. Page numbers refer to the thesis in the PDF. So it refers back to the actual thesis. Okay, so structure and outline for a new academic paper, LinkedIn enabled elite sampling, extended the IPR FDI Nexus study in UK multinationals in China, gives me an abstract, abstract introduction, literature review, methodology, results and discussion. So it sets out the structure of this paper, and then it gives me 3 publishable follow-on article ideas, superconnectors and elite survey research, sector heterogeneity in the IPR-FDI relationship, so a multi-level model of manufacturing services and mixed firms using a thesis microdata evaluates whether IPR salience varies by knowledge intensity. Very cool. So it's not only read, it is understood, it is reasoned, it is thought through what's in the PhD, timing FDI against stepwise Chinese IPR reforms. So looking at how China, so that my thesis looks at China as a specific case study. So looking at that. 3 extra ways to remine the thesis data. So network graph on LinkedIn invitations versus compliance. So looking back at that, at the use of LinkedIn, did it make a difference, and what did that network look like? So mixed effects models. So this is the area where I probably didn't push myself with the sort of multivariate analysis of my data because I just didn't have the skills. But actually, could we work on them? And then natural language topic modeling on interview transcripts. So looking at the themes in the interview transcripts, could we look at them in a different way and do some natural language modeling? It's given me a draft white paper here. So IP perceptions, investment choices, what 205 UK multinationals told us about China, and some key messages, some policy pointers, data highlights, methodological notes. And then it's given me post 2020, so when my PhD was published, literature that extends or questions the thesis. And here we go. Yi and Lui, stronger local IP enforcement, supports our hypothesis for better IPR attraction. Better IPR attracts higher quality, qualifies the mode of entry effect, contradicts expectations that stronger UK IPR alone keeps flows robust. Geopolitical risks are now dominant. That's true. Nuances, narrative, sector-specific resilience. And quite a lot about what happened in my thesis was that things were sector-specific, and then it gives me a confidence assessment. So taking a massive document and then recutting it. Now think about that. If you've got your, I've seen an example where somebody had put their sort of board minutes in, where people had put their planning documents in over a long period of time and said, come up with a new plan for us or think through a plan. And O3 Pro, it gives a level of insight that I don't think I've seen up to now with these models. Really difficult to show you this. All I can say is that it's given me a level of insight that I think is a bit unique. I've not seen it with Gemini 2.5 Pro. I've not seen it with O3, the normal level model. So yeah, there's something a little bit different here, and I think it's really interesting. As I say, a little bit difficult to show you, but hopefully I'm describing it as we go through these use cases. All right, let's move on. So what I've done in this use case is I've talked multiple times about how ChatGPT, or all of the large language models actually, can act as a really effective tutor. And so what I've tried to do is something slightly different here. And I have created a personal tutor, but I've given it a student profile. So I created a JSON file that sort of set out a student profile. And then I've said, given it an instruction, teach AI in the boardroom. After each explanation, generate a quiz that adapts to the last answer, and then update the learner profile after every turn. So what I'm trying to achieve, or trying to demonstrate here, is bespoke learning for an individual, based on an individual. I'm trying to demonstrate, I guess, something that we call sort of teaching to the gap. So rather than teaching everything, identifying what the person knows, and more importantly, what the person doesn't know or doesn't understand, and then teaching that rather than reteaching information that the individual understands. And because if we can do that, we can be more efficient. We can use our time more efficiently and train people more effectively. Only training them for the bits that are missing. Of course, putting it in context, but ensuring that we focus on those areas where they can get most value from their learning, and then updating the learner profile so that we effectively remember what the person learned, and make sure that we don't continually go over the same things again. Testing the same things, absolutely, but not going over the same learning again, but just reinforcing learning. And I think that O3 Pro gives you the ability to do this in a way that I haven't really seen before. So session 1, it sets out some reading. So read around strategic edge, risk compliance, skills gaps, government duties, and a real case. And it gives us a nice sort of pros and cons for the directors. So this is about training directors on the use of AI. Then it gives a quick quiz. So give me some answers to these just to test knowledge. And then it updates the learner profile. And then you can say go into lesson 2, and it will go through its process again. Now, this isn't going to work in a live environment at all, because it's too slow. It's going to take another 6-10 minutes to produce the next lesson. But you can see that we're getting to a stage where bespoke understanding of a student, bespoke teaching, updating of records can all be automated within a large language model. And I think that's a really powerful thing that we can do, and an area where we can explore and improve. And of course, these models will get faster, more efficient, more effective. But it's sort of showing, I hope I'm showing, the sort of edge cases of use. And I think some of these will be relevant to your businesses, your practice, what you're doing, or indeed for yourself. Okay, for this use case, I have tried to see whether I could get O3 Pro to give me financial data. So I've said you're a financial analyst. And the task is search the web for the last 24 hours news on the FTSE 100 top 5 risers, pull the closing prices via Python, Y Finance, plot 30-day price trend and overlay news headlines, and then give me one actionable insight per ticker. So it has looked at on the 13th of June 2025 close, the top 5 FTSE 100 risers. So BAE Systems, Endeavour Mining, Fresnillo PLC, Babcock and Tesco. It's given me the Python code to produce the graphs, etc. And then it's given me the insights over the next 4 to 8 weeks. So BAE Systems, record defence back orders amid heightened geopolitical risk. So we know that the UK is going to be investing an enormous amount of money in defence. So not surprisingly, BAE Systems is growing very quickly. And I think that's probably also the same for Babcock, who make submarines. We're seeing, because of the geopolitical risk, that gold is doing well. So that's why EDV, the mining company, is doing well, and the silver price is also going up. So interestingly, the top 4 shares are all related to geopolitical risk, really. And then Tesco is doing well on its own brand. And then it's given me all of the links as well. Now, I haven't run this Python template just because it took another 13 minutes. It seems to be a time. But you can see that you could have this running every morning before you woke up, and you could be welcomed to the day with this analysis so that you can make your decisions if you have a share portfolio. Really interesting. Perhaps you can do this with O3, but I think the sort of multi-step stuff is pretty interesting. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so one of the things I am looking to do is to create a program of learning and support for boards. I speak to lots of people in industry, and I've already spoken to several boards, and clearly they are interested in AI. Some of them are very scared about AI. They don't know how it can make a difference for their business, and I think that it certainly can. And I'm concerned if boards are not taking the AI baton to their business and saying, you know, you need to use this technology to create better products, better services for customers, and to become more efficient. So I've asked it to create a campaign to support this activity, and it took 13 minutes again. Its deliverables were 350 word email copy variant. So how can I reach out to companies and offer this service? 15 social media posts to get my name out there and get people interested in it, a press release, and then a style sheet so that I make sure that as I develop this program for businesses that I have a consistent style. That's what I asked it for. Let's see what we got. So I got the email. So email 1, practical guidance, and it sets out what's in the program. So private briefing on current UK regulations and ethics, 2 working sessions to map risks and benefits in your sector, templates for policy oversight and reporting, optional 30-minute clinics for committee chairs, and final follow-up that checks progress. So supporting that business to start that journey with AI. We've got a second one, which has a focus on risk, and then a third email that has more of a focus on competitive edge. Now, what I'll probably do is look to find a blend of these 3, but it gave me 3 emails, slightly different focus on each one. I think that's really useful insight. Really useful insight. I asked for 15 social posts, so here we go. Boards need clear AI oversight, not buzzwords. 6-week program gives directors facts, tools, and templates. 9.5K for 12 members, starts in September. Ask for the info sheet. And there we go, 15 social posts so that I could start building this product out and getting customers. And then a press release. Boards face fresh duties. Artificial intelligence moves from pilot to daily businesses, and it brings in some details from external sources like the Bank of England. Gemini talks about me, or who Alex Spencer is. Anyway, it made that up. So it will hallucinate pricing and dates, background, and then it's created me a style sheet. And what I can do is copy this and make sure that as I develop this, I add the style sheet and it will stay a consistent style. Very cool. Now, as I say, it took some time, but I think produces a level of insight that I perhaps I wasn't expecting. So that's O3 Pro. Really interesting. There's something different. There's something a little bit different about O3 Pro, and it's difficult to get my hands on it. And as you can see, I've struggled to think of ways to really demonstrate its strength. I hope I have, because I do think it's different. I do think it gives you a deeper insight into your information. I do think it has a way of drawing out new ways of doing things. So I'm impressed with it. I'm not impressed with how long it takes, but I'm impressed with the outputs that you get. So I think if you're looking to use this, then think very carefully about what you want to do with it. There will be many occasions, and there's been many occasions while I've been making this video, where O3 or even 4.0 have been much more appropriate. If you want a quick answer, if you want to solve a problem quickly, 4.0, brilliant. Give it the problem, you get an answer very quickly. But if you want that really in-depth insight that we've seen today from O3 Pro, then yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really interesting. Let me know down below what you think about O3 Pro, and let me know if you have any specific use cases that you think might be useful for me to try out. And if I can, I'll do it and I'll post a video for you. If you got something out of this video, don't forget to bang me a like. It really helps to get the video out there. And if you're not already, then subscribe and you'll get information about my latest videos. Now, if you've enjoyed this video and you've got some value out of it, then I would suggest you go to this video here and find out how to get the most out of O3. Catch you soon.